Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Swavely from Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit. In this short video, I want to give you a quick introduction to PVAAS and how you can start using a few of its reports to better understand student learning. PVAAS is a free web-based tool from the Pennsylvania Department of Education that measures student academic growth over time rather than just proficiency. It uses PSSA and Keystone data to help educators analyze student progress through value-added data and predict future performance through projection data, guiding instructional, curricular, and professional learning. PVAAS is not another test. It provides analysis based on existing student assessment data. And again, it measures growth between assessments using quality assessments like our Pennsylvania state assessments, and reports whether a group of students maintained, exceeded, or fell short of the growth standard based on their testing history. Today, we're going to focus on 3 reports that you can start using right away: the value added report, the diagnostic report, and the looking ahead projection report. To get started, go to pvas.sas.com and click on login using your username and password. You'll acknowledge the above information, click submit. Now, when you get to the screen, you are going to see a drop-down under reports that is going to give you different options for school reports, teacher reports, student reports, comparison reports as well. Today, we're going to focus under school reports. The first report we're going to look at is the value added report. So I'm going to click on value added. So when I get to this screen, I'm going to ask myself, what are the trends in growth and achievement? This report enables you to select data of interest, assess trends over time, and compare results. This value added report helps answer one main question: did a student group maintain, increase, or fall behind in their achievement? Value added or growth information analyzes available data from previous years to help schools, districts, and teachers evaluate how much groups of students have gained academically in a school year. This report uses both achievement and growth to assess student performance. So again, this value added report helps us understand what are the trends in growth and achievement. You'll notice color bands on this report under the color growth indicator. The colors help answer the question, did the students grow at the same rate in comparison to other students who took the same assessment in the same year across the state based on where they started and ended the school year? Dark blue shows us that there is significant evidence that the school exceeded the growth standard. Light blue is moderate evidence that the school exceeded the growth standard. Whenever you see green, that means it meets. That's evidence that the school met the growth standard. Yellow is moderate evidence that the school did not meet the growth standard. And finally, well below is red, which is significant evidence that the school did not meet the growth standard. These colors reflect group trends, not individual students or teachers. So again, when I see this growth report, it's going to break it down by subject, the year, and the grade. And then they're going to give you the growth color indicator for that group of students. So for example, here in this report, I see PSSA math. I see the year, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. And here I can see that my 6th graders were well below in the red. My 7th graders were in green at the meets, and the 8th graders were in yellow. The nice thing about this report is you can select more than one year to look at trends across the years. And whenever you see a blue link, you can click on it and it will rearrange the data for you based on subject, year, or by grade level. So that is the value added report. And when you're looking at this report, you can start thinking, how can we celebrate and duplicate? So for example, how can we celebrate which groups of our students met or exceeded growth expectations? Do we have any students that are in light blue or blue? What successes can we recognize as a team for those groups of students? What instructional strategies might have contributed to this growth? We can also use this report to reflect. Where might students need additional support moving forward? And what adjustments can strengthen growth for next school year? So again, this is the value added report. The next report I'm going to show you is the diagnostic report. So again, you could get to this by clicking on the blue band at the top that says reports. Under student reports, click on diagnostics. So this report helps us answer their question on what are your trends for different groups of students. This report enables you to select data and view results for different groups of students, and you can customize the report by choosing a base subject and test. So I'm going to click, I'll go 7th grade. You can also click some different options here on the left-hand side, but for right now, we're just going to look at 7th grade math. And what I notice here is I notice that I have different numbers here from the lowest all the way up to the highest, numbers 1 through 5. So this report shows us how the lowest group of students in the state, lowest is 0 to 20% of students in the state at the lowest achievement group. Low to mid are our students who are in the achievement group between 20 and 40% of the lowest. Middle is around 40 to 60%. Mid-high is 60 to 80%. And finally, our highest group of students are the students that scored in the highest 80 to 100% throughout the state. So I see the graph here, but I always like to take a look down at the table because this is going to break out each of our state achievement groups based on the colors that I previously shared in the value added report. So what I notice here is our lowest group of students are falling behind. They're in yellow. That shows that they did not meet the growth standard. However, I noticed that our middle groups of students are really showing that they are exceeding the growth standard and they are at blue. So again, this really helps us answer different questions about how different student groups are doing and helps us understand what growth looks like for our different types of learners. There is a way on the left-hand side here to limit the data by different options. So where it says limit by, I'm going to click on other, and you'll see a whole bunch of different groups that you can look deeper into. I'm going to select students with an IEP. If I just want to look at my students with an IEP, once I click that, it's going to change the graph in the table here on the right-hand side. So again, now I can see just my students with IEPs, how my lowest, my low mid, and my middle students performed based on that data of students with an IEP. If you're wondering who these students are, you can see that there's a student count. So the lowest had 49 students, my low mid had 21, my middle had 7. But if I want to drill a bit deeper, on the right-hand side, I can click on this blue option here. And once I click on it, on the down arrow button, it's going to show me all of the student names and which group they were in. And when I click on that student, it's going to take me to their own student report. So that was the diagnostic report. And again, the diagnostic report really helps us understand the trends for different groups of students. Many teachers find this report especially helpful when planning small groups, differentiated instruction, or MTSS report. So when you review this report, some items to consider is which students may need intensive support. Are there groups of students with similar learning needs? And does our school offer enough support to target different learning needs for specific groups of students? The last report I'm going to show you today is a looking ahead report or the projection report. To get to this report, under reports, under school reports, we're going to click on projection summaries. I'll select a grade. When I come here, you'll see a select a projection. I always go to proficient because I want to really see which of my students are projected to score at least proficient on the PSSA or Keystone. So I'm going to click here. It's going to take me to a report that looks like this. We're going to be looking at the enrolled students that have a greater than 70% chance of scoring at least proficient on the PSSA. When we look at students with a probability of 70 or higher, they are likely to score at or above the indicated benchmark, and they might need a lower level of support needed. The student's needs will likely be met with core instruction. The students that are between this 40 and 70%, they may or may not reach the intended benchmark, and they might need a moderate level of support. Students will likely need targeted small group instruction using diagnostic assessment to identify skill gaps. And then finally, we have students that are less than 40%. They're not likely to reach the indicated benchmark and they need a higher level of support needed. They might need some intervention in small groups and look at ways that we could really make sure that we're supporting those students. When you click on this report, you can see the student count and it's going to show you exactly who those students are. So let's say I want to look at my students who have a greater than 70% chance of scoring proficient. It's going to take me to a sheet that looks like this, where they're going to give you the student name. I'm in a demo account, so I only have the student ID numbers, but you will see the student's name here. You will see whether they're Title I, Title III, EL student, if they have a GIEP, IEP. But right here, you're going to see their achievement probability. And if you click on this, it is going to sort it for you from either highest to lowest or from lowest to highest. And if you scroll all the way down, you're going to see that this student here at the top has a 70% chance of scoring proficient, all the way down to students that have a higher probability of scoring proficient. So this report is a great way for you to look at, tiered intervention, what support students may need, and what their projection is for the PSSA or Keystone that is coming up. If you click on this student, it will take you to their individual student report, like I showed you earlier. And this is really great if you really want to drill down just on one particular student. What you'll see here is you can click which test and focus subject you want to look at. So right now I'm looking at their math assessment. It'll show you the different years at the bottom. But if you click on future projected here, you will see a dotted line that shows you where the student is predicted to perform. So this student has about an 86.5% chance of scoring proficient on the assessment. If you scroll down, you will also see a history of all of the students' projections for math, English language arts, and science. It shows you their performance level and what their projection is. So this data can be used for intervention planning, enrichment planning, course placement decisions, resource allocation. And again, the projection reports show probabilities and help guide instructional decisions so teachers and teams can plan proactively. Again, to wrap up, the value added report helps us see, helps us answer the question, did our students grow? The diagnostic helps us understand where our students are now, and the looking ahead or projection report helps us understand where students are likely headed. PVAAS is most powerful when used to support reflection, collaboration, and instructional planning, and it helps bring achievement and growth together to provide a clear picture of student learning over time. Thank you for taking a few minutes to explore these reports and the insights they provide.